Hey guys, welcome to the tutorial for my new program, Domino Art Planner. Domino Art Planner includes a 100% automatic field planner and wall planner, yet still allows for full user customization. The Domino sheet allows you to keep track of what colors you're using, and the floor plan sheet allows you to create a 2-scale overhead view of a project with many types of domino structures. The domino sheet will automatically come with all of the bulk domino colors available, as well as some that are no longer available but commonly used. But you can still add as many colors as you want by clicking on cell A1, and a new domino will pop up down here. You can rename that to any color you would like, and then change this cell to any RGB value you'd like. The only thing to remember is to make sure that each of these color cells have a unique combination of a color and a letter. So for example, to separate some really similar colors such as clear neon yellow and clear yellow, I've added different letters to give you a little hint of what that color means. So then when you go to the floor planner, it'll show up as CN or C, so that you know exactly what that is and not just yellow. Alright. To get started, you have to have some dominoes, so you're going to have to input your amounts. You can do this manually, or you can insert weights in pounds for each of your dominoes if you happen to know those. And if you put a weight in that column, it will override the amount that you have in column D. Alright, so once you have all your weights and amounts inputted, it'll automatically calculate the total as well as dominoes remaining, which means if you're keeping track of how many colors you're using in different projects, say project 1 is just 1,000 black dominoes, project 2 is 500 blue and 1,000 caramel, then it's going to automatically calculate this remaining column, which shows you how many you have left after these projects have been built. So you can add projects just by adding a title to these cells and then adding dominoes underneath, as well as totals for each project. And you'll see later that we can automatically add fields and walls from the planners to this page. Since you have all of your colors inputted right now, go ahead and save this so that you don't have to do that this next time you open it. Alright, when you open the field planner page, the field planner user form will show up. And let's say you want to generate a field from an image you found online. Select the image. The default size is 25 by 50, and you can change that by changing these values. Let's say I want to make it 30 by 60. You can use tab to navigate back and forth between these and hit enter or hit resize image when you want to resize it. When you're happy with the dimensions, the next step is make sure multi-select is checked, and then you're going to select all the colors that you want to use to generate this logo. And when you plan the field, it'll select the closest color to each cell. So let's say I want to use maroon and white to plan the YouTube logo instead of red and white. Next, hit generate field. It'll scan through and find the closest domino color that you've selected and change the cell to that color. If you're doing a really large field and you can't see it all at once, make sure to zoom out on Excel so that you can see the entire field on the screen. This works for a maximum of 735,000 dominoes in a field, which I have tested and have had a successful, good-looking field plan with. When it's done, it's going to move the image to the right side of the field that it's just generated. So 30 by 60, that's an 1800 domino field, and it's done. I'll go through all of the other buttons on here so you know how they work. So next one would be delete image, or you can keep it up here as a reference if you're making a lot of changes. So delete it. Clear all would erase all of your work so far. Clear selection would clear just the selected cells that you have. Select all of this color. Whatever color you have selected, it's going to look through all of the rows and columns and select all of the same ones. So let's say I want to change it back to red. I can just select all of those maroon, find red, and hit enter. Cut, copy, and paste. Everyone knows how those work. Let's do an example. Let's say I want a border of one white row on all four sides of the field. So I've changed the field size to 32 by 64, which you can see in the upper left hand corner. So what you need to do is update this so that the program now knows the field is 32 by 64. Let's say I want to change all of the white to black. So now it knows to search through 32 rows and 64 columns because you've updated it. Okay, one more really cool tool which is really useful when you're writing text or making a lot of changes to an image is the draw button. So when this is checked, every time you change the selection, the cells will change to whatever color you have selected right here. So let's say you want to make an outline. You can do that pretty quickly with this tool. And there we go. When you uncheck draw, it won't make any more changes. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention real quick is the dominoes in this list are all of the dominoes which you have greater than one remaining in this column, just so you know. The next step when you're happy with the design would be to count the colors. So let's click count colors. And it usually takes a minute. It's longer for larger fields. You get this pop-up called field counter, and it will tell you how many dominoes of each color that this field would use. Total would be 2,048 dominoes. Let's say you're happy with these amounts and you're happy with the field. You can add it to the project list if you want. Give it a name, and it's going to show up in the next available column on the domino page. And what that did was it put all of the domino amounts from right here into your list. So YouTube project used 156 black, 1460 red, and 432 white, and 2048 total. And the remaining column will automatically update to show you how many you have left of each project. Let's say I do another project, and this one uses just 3000 black. The sheet's going to let you know that you don't have enough black to complete this, and black will no longer show up in the field planner. Alright, the next thing I'll show you is you can add it to the floor plan page. Also going to call it YouTube. The field's going to show up on the floor plan page, and each cell represents 1 foot by 1 foot. You also have the dimensions right here, and the rows and columns right here in the total dominoes. And I'll show you more about the floor plan later, but just know that you can add fields and walls directly from the counters. So you're happy with the field plan, the domino amounts, and the size of the field. Next step would be to print the field plan. Now you don't necessarily have to print it, but this button is going to finalize the plan and give you instructions, and it'll open print previews, so you can print it if you want. But you can just X out if you don't. It's going to ask you if you want to use blocks because a lot of people like to break it up based on their template length. I'm just going to say no for this example. You don't need to name it. And this will take just a minute. Okay, so here's the page with the picture of the field, which you can print or close. Here's the field instructions, which you can print or close. Notice that it also has the amounts and sizes in here. And then you will notice that you've got two new pages. One of them just has an exact copy of the field called YouTube, and one of them is called YouTube I, which stands for YouTube Instructions, and that's going to give you the field instructions. So the reason for creating a copy page is, let's say I want to plan multiple fields and multiple walls on the same Excel sheet. I added this so that I can go here and clear all of it and start to plan a new field, and then I still have this saved, and if I wanted to go back and make more changes, I could just Control C, Control V back onto the field planner page, and I could make the changes. Okay, so I think that's all for the field planner. Let's move on to the wall planner. Wall planner works exactly the same way. So let's select red and white, and everything looks good. I'm good with the size. Let's generate that wall. Alright, same thing, and move the picture over here. You can delete it or keep it as a reference. So here's the finalized wall plan. Since you are using some white in the wall, these cells I'm selecting represent white dominoes. These cells here, here, here just represent blank space. So if you need some help visualizing that, you can change the background color to gray. So that leaves you with the dominoes that should be white, where gray represents blank space, which is no domino. And you can change it back to white if you want. So same thing, basically you can clear all, clear selection, you can select all of the color. So let's say I wanted to make a yellow YouTube logo. So there's that. Sometimes it might get a few extra things or miss a few things, but the draw tool is really useful for that, and resetting the background was also very useful. So let's say you're happy with this wall plan. Next thing, count colors, just like the field planner. Here's the pop-up with the total. You can add it to the project list YouTube wall, and same thing, those numbers showed up here. You can add it to the floor plan. Excel does a weird thing if you hold shift and click space. And here is the size of that wall. the information just like this is in here in a very small font, so you can use that on the floor plan. Let's get back to the field. There we go. Alright, so let's say you're happy with the amounts and the plan and everything. Obviously, same as the field plan, you're just going to click print to finalize it. This is going to do exactly what the field planner did, where it makes a copy of the wall, and it's also going to give you wall instructions. Alright, here's the picture of the wall, which you can print or close. Instructions for the wall, which you can print or close. I'll explain in a little bit how these instructions actually work, because wall planning is not a very common thing. And then here are those extra pages with those pieces. Okay, the final piece of the program would be the floor plan page. And I've already showed you how you can add fields and walls directly from the field and wall counters. You can also add those with these buttons, and it'll ask you how many rows and columns in the field, etc. Let's say you have an area of 10 feet by 10 feet to work with in your build space. So input your dimensions here, click enter or click resize build area. It'll put a bold outline around 10 cells by 10 cells, which represents your space. You can then move around the projects you have to put them anywhere in that space and see how they'll fit. You can add lots of other types of shapes. For example, let's say you're doing a circle field, and it's going to be 4 feet in diameter. It will tell you how many dominoes that's going to take. You want to add a 3D pyramid. Let's say you want to do the world record 3D pyramid, which is 30 by 30. That's going to take up a lot of space, so you'll know exactly the size of everything. So you can't build that. You can delete it. You can clear the build area, which erases the border. You can delete all the shapes or just the selected shape. Cut, copy, paste again, all sorts of domino structures. Cuboid is a more correct term to describe what we usually call a domino cube, but we all know that it doesn't have to be a cube, it can be a rectangle. You can also add lines to connect them. So let's say I want to connect these two projects. Arrow to the right, it's going to be 1 foot long, and then I can just put that into place. You can use these buttons to make a long series of arrows to connect all the projects you've planned. When you click print the floor plan, when you're happy with it, it's going to bring up a print preview for the floor plan. It's also going to bring up a print preview for the domino sheet, because it's going to assume that you're finished with all the projects on this file and you're ready to start building it, so you have all the amounts ready to go.